Hello from Manchester for the UK's first major marathon of the year. What better way to get the season started than with the flattest and fastest course in the country. Welcome to the Asics Greater Manchester Marathon. First run back in 1908, this event is also the oldest of all the major road races in the country, and a familiar face on the start line in recent years is Annie Emerson. Annie, you're not running this year, you're helping us out with coverage, thank you very much. What is it about this event that makes it so popular?
Well, it's a fantastically well-run event, but I think most importantly, it's a really fast course, and the support out there, you know, really carries you through the 26.2 miles.
Who is there to look out for this year in the elites?
Well, there's some great guys running. We've got Matt Bond, who is a 2:15 runner, and Steve Way, lovely guy, great story, used to be a postman, qualified for the Commonwealth Games a few years ago and also has a PB of 2:15.
What about in the women's race?
Well, I think the standout favourite for me has to be Georgie Grenville. She won here previously in her first ever marathon and has a PB of 2:38, so she's a big favourite in the women's race for sure.
So perfect place for a race and hopefully the perfect conditions as well. Let's cross to your commentator, Rob Walker.
Thanks very much, Joe. Some nervous figures making their way into the Emirates Old Trafford Stadium, home to Lancashire County Cricket Club and the event village for this weekend. So let's take you through this historic course. It's fast, it's flat, and there should be plenty of personal bests as well as two cracking elite races. Through Sale at the 6, 7 and 8 mile marker before heading out to Altrincham. That's the furthest part of the course, and then a scenic route back. This is where it will start to get a bit sticky. 17, 18, 19 miles past Manu's training ground at Carrington at 21, and then the long march back to Trafford and the relief and glory of the finish line. Well, the course is fast and the conditions are good today. But it's not just about the times. There'll be hundreds of thousands of pounds being raised for local and national charities. What an atmosphere here in Manchester.
I'm loving the name, Usain Bolt.
Usain Bolt, that's correct, yes. That is my running name.
Are you as fast as him?
Not quite, not quite. I can run further than him, but not as fast.
I'd love to see Usain Bolt take on a marathon after he retires from international running. Plenty of time for monkeying around on this course, some wearing more clothes than others.
You've definitely got my vote for best dressed runner.
It's the third race that I've done in this, and it seems to work well. I get lots of attention, lots of notice from the crowd, and it just keeps you going.
You guys are going to stick together?
Yeah, teamwork.
For 4.5 hours?
Maybe 5.
Why did you choose Manchester Marathon?
Done it last year, didn't feel too well after 22, so unfinished business.
Nervous moments on the start line. Georgie Grenville, she won this title in 2015. Jaksavicius, the Lithuanian, now representing Belgrave Harriers. Here we go. Months of training, hundreds of miles in the legs. And this is the nice moment for those of you out there watching who've run a marathon. All the nerves in the last couple of hours subside, and at last you can get on with your early race plan. And after tapering training in the last few weeks, hopefully every single one of the 15,000 on this start line will be feeling fresh and ready to go here in Manchester. Well, Matt Bond, a 2:15 marathon runner, he's in this field, but we won't be expecting him to feature towards the front because he apparently is using this as a long training run in his build-up to the London Marathon on the 23rd of April. But plenty of other top names certainly hope they will be the first to cross this finish line. Steve Way, British record holder over the 100 kilometres. Will Mackay, the tall figure in the blue who's just looked at his watch. And on the left, Patrick Martin, very talented 1500 metre runner, making his debut over the marathon distance today. And what a delight for everybody competing. Our two British Olympic marathon runners as our official starters, Dr. Ron Hill and Mara Yamauchi.
I think road running events attract people who enjoy running, but also when they're held in iconic cities like Manchester, London, Brighton and so on. And of course the Greater Manchester Marathon, the start and finish are in the backdrop of the Old Trafford Stadium, so you really get the Manchester experience coming here.
Mariana Uchi, a real force in women's marathon running, a brilliant 6th in Beijing. Hard to believe it was back in 2008. Well, a lead breakaway of about 7 athletes already in the early stages of the men's race. And I wonder what Dr. Ron Hill makes of the modern marathon runner, because in his day it really was the hard way.
When I won my medals and won Boston Marathon and broke the record there, I was working full time. Running to work and back was my training. And I think a lot of people can sympathise with that and say, well, hell, if he could do it, you know, maybe I could do it. Just an ordinary guy. But, you know, to get right to the very, very top now, you have to be a professional. I mean, I had no medical backup or anything. Just, you know, if I got injured, I just ran a bit more slowly and didn't go as far.
Well, he makes that sound so simple, but fabulous to have 2 such legends of British marathon running here to support this race. So, into the 4th mile, and we still have this lead group looking fairly comfortable. There's Will Mackay, centre of the picture in the blue. 2:26 a couple of years ago at London, and he's really been putting the work in ahead of this race.
I've been doing kind of the lead up to this anywhere between 80 and 120 mile weeks, you know, probably averaging 90 miles a week, I think, in the build up. So it's not been quite as smooth a build up as like my previous marathon, but then, you know, never is. Marathon training is never easy. Try and run my own race, try and run a sensible race. At the end of the day, it's a marathon, anything can happen.
The voice of experience there from William Mackay. A man making his debut over the marathon today is Patrick Martin. No doubting his credentials though, 3:47 over the 1500 and sub 66 over the half.
I've chosen Manchester because it's on my doorstep and it's a fantastic course and the support will be excellent, so it's a good one to start with. I'm a little nervous, it's the first time I've done the marathon, but also excited, and it's a perfect day for it, so yeah, looking forward to it.
So a group of 6 now, still in the early stages of the men's race. Some with a lot of experience, others on the debut. Well, Georgie Grenville knows what it's like to make a debut here in Manchester over the marathon. She did that 2 years ago and ended up winning the race. And she's in pole position here. Some useful pacemaking being done by some of the classy club athletes. She's looking good.
I ran here in 2015, had a brilliant experience, like the crowd were amazing. Yeah, I just decided to come back. I really enjoyed the race and want to have another run.
Well, Georgie leading. This is the athlete in 2nd place, Jenny Weten, twice a winner of the Inverness Marathon, on both occasions inside 2:50. Long way to go, but can she close down the winner from 2 years ago? Perfect conditions here in Manchester today. Still fast, flat, and we've got a good group still working together in this men's race. One man we would have expected to be up with that lead group is Steve Way, the ultra performer over 100k, but things not going his way today.
Fortunately, I've had a bit of a cold/man flu for the last probably 10 days now, and yeah, I'm the kind of person that isn't very good at running through these things, so it's hindered my performance quite a bit. It means I'm going to be relying on the heart rate quite a bit today, so I'll need to make sure that my heart rate's been elevated all week, so I need to just stick to a heart rate, stick to an effort level, and make sure that I keep it at that level. Otherwise, I'll find myself in a whole world of pain at sort of 20 miles.
Well, it's going to be a tough day for the man who finished 10th in the Commonwealth Marathon in Glasgow in 2014. And a tough day for some of these men and women, although they are being brilliantly supported all along this course. Fantastic to see so many members of the public turning out to cheer on those they know and those they don't.
Kangaroo's doing a good job, isn't he?
We're on course at the moment, we're just inside the 3:40 time, and the body's feeling okay.
How are you going?
I'm starting to struggle now, but we'll stick in there. Oh no. We have a motto. Until we find a cure, there'll be no finish line. So
No, exactly. You keep going. Brilliant cause. Are you running for anyone in particular or just for yourself?
This is the first time I've ran since the last Manchester Marathon, so I just want to finish today and not be last.
This has been awesome.
It has been amazing. How are you guys? How is everyone? Tired? Oh dear, not already.
It's all good. It's all good. We're loving it. And the crowds are awesome, and everyone's got the hand out and slapping and stuff like that. So that's awesome.
We've got some great T-shirts, and the support's been amazing.
Well, anyone who's run a marathon knows there is always room for something sweet when the going gets tough.
Further around the course, you get loads of jelly babies as well.
Yeah, I know. I've got quite a few in the bank already. Flapjack, that was my favourite.
Well, jelly babies is one thing. A flapjack might be pushing it, as he's yet to get towards the halfway stage. But it's whatever you need to get you through inch by inch, mile by mile. Sam and all the rest of the 15,000 hopefully will be very much enjoying the experience. Meanwhile, the elites heading through Altrincham, and this is where it starts to get a little bit interesting. The first 13 miles in the bank. Who is going to be the first to make a move? Well, certainly in the women's race, it's the winner from 2 years ago, Georgie Grenville, going very well indeed here. And now coming through into second place is Charlotte Firth, who was second in the Edinburgh Marathon a couple of years ago. All the drama still yet to unfold here in Manchester.
Welcome back to the Asics Greater Manchester Marathon. 15,000 runners are out on the course, making their way to the finish here at Emirates Old Trafford, home of Lancashire County Cricket Club. The race to be first back to the pavilion is well underway.
So the lead men approaching the 16-mile marker. Still Will Mackay pushing the pace. Now there's a little gap from third back to fourth. Yaksavicius, the Lithuanian who now represents Belgrave Harriers, he's in fourth. A lead trio then. Behind Mackay comes Patrick Martin, and Tom Charles still hanging on in third at the moment up this little incline. 10 miles to go now. Is this the definitive break? Martin, remember, is the marathon debutant with great speed at distances across 1500 and the half marathon. Was that an anxious glance there from Mackay? This is his bid for glory.
I don't really feel like I've kind of nailed a marathon. You know, I've kind of always seemed to maybe overcook things or just not feel right or not had the conditions, and I've always kind of struggled the last 6 miles. So, you know, it'll be my 5th marathon tomorrow, so hopefully sort of 5th time lucky.
Little bit of a gap now back to Tom Charles in third. These two side by side, and remember, Patrick Martin will soon be in uncharted territory.
I've done a 23-mile run, but it was part of a 20-mile race.
How did it feel?
It was all right, yeah. I noticed the legs at about 18 miles, but overall I couldn't complain. I'm just going to concentrate on myself, and it's about trying to enjoy the experience.
Side by side, shoulder to shoulder, a great distance running duel unfolding at the front of the field. Meanwhile, further back down the course, Steve Way is now with Annie Emerson.
Steve, you made a sensible decision just to take it easy today. You've even taken time out to chat with us.
Well, you're the highlight of my day now. It was getting a bit tedious, but yeah, unfortunately I picked up a cold last week, and I wanted to come up here and run because it was such a nice day, but I got to about 10, 11 miles and I could feel the energy had just sapped out of me. So I'm just going to jog it in and enjoy it, to be honest. And I think it's the first time I've managed to have an interview in the middle of a race, so that's quite...
I love it, jogging in at a steady 6-minute mile pace. Go on, have a nice little jog home.
Well, if you could stop for an interview and still be on course for sub 240, you're a special athlete. Steve Way back down the course. Meanwhile, who has the upper hand in this battle for glory in Manchester? For the first time, Patrick Martin hits the front. He's left Mackay trailing in his wake. There's still a long way to go. And as Mara Yamauchi and every other world-class marathon runner can confirm, it's the end of the race that is the most difficult.
Of course, those last 6 miles are the killer in the marathon. And that's the attraction of the marathon, because it's beyond what humans can sort of naturally run on their carbohydrate tank. That's why we talk about the dreaded hitting the wall. But that's what training prepares you for. As a marathon runner, you train to be able to run 26, not 20 miles. So.
Well, he's been here before, unlike the man leading the race, but Mackay is really hurting now.
I've always been struck by it, how quickly things can change in the marathon, how you can feel quite comfortable at 15, 16 miles, and then all of a sudden, by the time you've got to 19, 20, you're just in a kind of whole other world of pain.
Mackay will have to battle his mental demons here. Yaxavicius and Tom Charles now going past him. The man who's performed well in Frankfurt and the London Marathon. Just giving a glance to the smaller figure there, Charles, who was second in the Yorkshire Marathon last autumn. It can be a cruel, brutal distance when you get it wrong, and absolutely magnificent when you get it right. What a run this is turning out to be from Patrick Martin. Never further than 23 miles until today. Has he got it right? What a novel way of helping the rest of the club runners and fun runners cool down. A pressure wash with a difference here in the leafy suburbs of Manchester. Well, these are the men and women raising hundreds of thousands of pounds for charities, in some cases very close to their heart, and that's certainly the case for debutante Jenny Entwistle.
2 years ago, I lost my mum to cancer, liver cancer. It was quite quick. She was diagnosed on the Thursday, she died on the Sunday, so it was really quick. And that was a massive change to my life. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to start doing something positive with my grief and learning to cope. I thought, you know what, I'm going to give running a try. I sit next to a lad at work and he runs all the time, so I was asking him about it, and then I started running with him, and then I signed up to Manchester 10K. Fell in love with it all, and then stupidly signed up for a marathon.
Oh, come on, Jenny, you can do it, come on!
I'm definitely strong enough to run a marathon and, you know, hopefully inspire other people that they can do it as well.
Are you going to make it?
Yeah, of course I'm going to make it.
Great reasons for so many of them to take part. It's a painful process, but a rewarding one for everybody, including our leader and race winner, Patrick Martin. All the questions about how he coped with his first outing over 26.2 miles, the answer, brilliantly. Inside 2:23, you can see what it's taken out of him, but that was a sensational first run over the marathon distance.
I felt very good, and I made an effort around about 18, 19 miles, and just decided to kind of go for it. It was enjoyable until that last couple of miles.
Well, Tom Charles has followed up his second place in the Yorkshire Marathon with a runner-up spot here in Manchester. A class run from him.
It's like those last 5 miles, as anybody will tell you, where you end up feeling just white. That wasn't there today. I felt okay right up until that last half mile. This is easily the best run I've ever done.
Yaxavicius coming home for a well-deserved position on the podium, inside 2:25. And the man who made a bid for glory with 10 miles to go, William Mackay, coming home just outside the top 3, but it's still a solid performance. Great run there from Patrick Martin. The only question is, how much quicker can he go in the future? The first 9 coming home inside 2.5 hours. As for the long-term women's leader, Georgie Grenville is smiling as she shares a joke with Steve Way. Victorious in 2015 and victorious here today in impressive fashion. She made that look easy. Manchester victory number 2.
I literally just executed the plan, so the plan was just to stay at 6-minute miling, which I just did, and then I met Steve Way in the last couple of miles and got a bit excited and picked up a bit, but it was great. I really enjoyed running with him.
2:37, a really excellent run from Georgie Grenville, and look at the margin of victory as well. Charlotte Firth, all credit to her, in second place, over 8 minutes adrift. Well, we knew this was a fast course, but a total today of over 400 men and women breaking that all-important club runners barrier of 3 hours. A really good atmosphere and a really good standard. And here's a glimpse of a world record holder. Amy Hughes, 53 marathons in 53 days and a staggering 521 miles in a week on a treadmill.
How's it feeling?
Painful. I was all right up until mile 22, and then I've been struggling a bit for the last few miles, but atmosphere is amazing.
And still the party continues in fine style here. A city absolutely synonymous with world-class sports, and they're cheering everyone.
We are living it. We are running it in Manchester.
Let's have it. And what's Usain Bolt on course for?
Crack 5 hours.
Well done, impressed. So you lived up your name then, haven't you?
I have, yes. 200 metres, there will be a sprint finish.
My legs are dead. I'm out of breath, but I keep on going.
Well, Amy Hughes has run 53 marathons in 53 days, and another journey round the streets of Manchester is complete.
What is it about this race that you like, that you keep coming back to?
You know what, I think it's the atmosphere. Something about Northerners, they're so friendly. All the way around, the support was just amazing. And from fellow runners, everyone's just so supportive of each other. It's a really good race, yeah.
Well, there's absolutely no doubt that the crowd have played a brilliant role in getting everybody home here today in Manchester. And more than just a finisher's medal awaits Lynn McLaughlin. And what a wonderful tribute to her mum for Jenny.
How was it?
Hard work, but good. Enjoyed every minute of it.
Well, there's more than a century of distance running history in this city. And from what we've seen today, this race looks set to continue for many more years to come.
Well, the last few runners are making their way across the line now, and we have had it all today. We've had pain, PBs, and even a marriage proposal. What were your highlights, Annie?
We have. Well, I just love this race anyway, because everywhere you look, there are amazing amounts of supporters, number one. And just like talking to the guys out on the course, they're here for so many different reasons, and it's just so inspirational.
And I know that the elite athletes obviously did very, very well indeed, but for me, sort of one of the stories that I really liked from the day was Steve Way, who didn't have the race he wanted, but he really embraced the atmosphere here, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm a really big fan of Steve. He came here today knowing that he wasn't in great shape. He's had a bad cold. But you know what? He went out there and he raced. He didn't give up. He didn't let his fans down. You know, and as he said, he made a load of friends along the way.
And these crowds will probably be here for the next hour or so and see the very last person across that line. And they're all going home, of course, with medals and plenty of memories. See you next year.